Hey everybody, welcome down to the bench. Today is going to be huge and awesome all the way around because today we're going to build a monster.
Leo, it's time to meet me in the game room.
This is the arcade experience. We're ColecoVision, and we bring the arcade experience home. With arcade graphics, like Donkey Kong with multiple screens, just like the arcade game, arcade controls. And ColecoVision is an expandable system. Soon you can plug in the first expansion module and play all Atari VCS compatible cartridges. More arcade games than any other video system. Now bring the arcade experience home because your vision is our vision. ColecoVision.
Look at this. Is that not really, really pretty? ColecoVision. It is. This thing is so cool and so clean, and it is a CBS. I got this one from Canada. It's beautiful.
Oh yeah?
So that's
Nice.
But it has a couple of issues. So today we're going to take care of those issues, and we're going to turn this thing into the ultimate ColecoVision. The best thing you can get out of ColecoVision using a real original console. We're going to do it all today. We're going to do a no delay BIOS chip mod. So we're going to slow this thing down from having to wait 8 seconds before you start every single game. We are also going to do a controller chip ground mod, which is going to save the life of our controller chips in here. They short out really easy, unplugging these things and plugging them in, static on the carpet, stuff like that. You cause issues in there. So we're going to take care of that problem. We're also going to do a RAM upgrade because this thing has blocky graphics and weird letters and stuff like that. That tells me the RAM in this thing is bad. So there's 8 RAM chips. We're going to take those out. We're going to put sockets in there. We're going to put in new RAM chips. We'll do a 5-volt modification underneath that, so we won't have to use so much power in this thing. And yeah, let me see. Is that all we're going to do? Oh, no, we're going to do an AV mod to this thing too. So we'll have AV out, we'll have grounded controller chips, we'll have a new short BIOS, we'll have upgraded RAM. So this thing's going to rock and roll. So come on over here, get this downward view, and let's get to town. So before we get into it, I just wanted to show you what is actually going on. This is my DK Junior. It's scratched into there. The label is long gone, but this cartridge works great. So here we go. This is what we get for our ColecoVision at the moment. What is that? So there's some of Donkey Kong Jr. in there. Maybe it's Russian. Yeah. So you'll see what it looks like. So the game's working. The system's working because I can do everything. Don't get eaten. Thank you. Alright, so yeah. You can see it works, I can play it. It just looks like this. Exactly. So how can you play it like that? Let's fix it. Here are the parts going in this thing. These are the little anti-static ground chips for the controller ports. That is an AV mod chip. Should go in pretty easy. Here is a no delay BIOS chip and socket set. And new 8 RAM chips, 8 sockets. I'm not going to show you how to take this apart, so let's do it like this. Oh wait, I still got to do the shielding. Okay, that's a little better. Wait, let's get this thing fully apart. Yeah, alright, finally. This is much better. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to do this BIOS chip right here. So first thing we need to do is get this out. And finally, there is the original BIOS chip. Unfortunately, it did a little bit of damage on the back side getting that out. So we will have a trace or two to repair. On the back side of the board here, you do see a little bit of trace damage. This one kind of lifted up a little bit. This one came right up. So yeah, the few traces here that came up or totally burnt away, that's easy enough fix. One other thing we have to do here with the new BIOS chip is we have to sever these connections right here and right here. So you can do it with a little screwdriver, not a big deal. Just go in here, kind of scratch away. Just to make sure those are not connected anymore. Get a continuity tester here. That's cut through there, that's cut through there. Yes. Same thing, test them out right here. Good. Okay. Make sure I didn't cut that. Alright, that looks good. There is the new socket in place. And what they do is they have you run these couple of jumpers right here. And that makes up for cutting those traces on the backside. You see a couple of repairs here, but those are fixed up good. So there is the new BIOS chip, and we just like so. So check this out. I've only pulled out the first couple so far, but let's see if I can get this one here nice and close for you. Look at all that dirty rustiness on there. This is probably the whole reason why this thing was doing what it was doing. Okay, the RAM chips are all out, and yeah, burnt myself up pretty good getting them out, but that's okay. Sometimes we have to suffer. We also need to remove L2 and L3. So those right there are right here and right here on the back side. Let's see if we can get some solder out of those. It should just pop out of there now. Easy. There it is. Alright, so now that we took out L2 and L3, we do need to do a little jump. We need to connect where this leg of L2 was. We need to run a little jump over, connect it to that pin right there. Here's why, to save the little legs you cut off when you do some LEDs or capacitor work, because you might find a use for that later on down the road, just like this. A little bit of flux right there. And we're only going to connect it to that one pin, just right there. That looks really good. And then cut off the rest of that leg. Okay, we've got a jumped connection right here. L2 and L3 are gone. Now we can put in our sockets. I won't bore you with all that. I'll show you when I'm done. Those are Ruggers Customs anti-static joystick port protections. So there's a fancy, this is a very fancy version of a simple mod which grounds out your controller ports. These controller ports are not grounded out. What they do is they short out the control chips that are right here on the other side, and then you can't do anything. So this mod is very cool. You see these little chips have all the little holes. You basically, I had to cut this leg off of this chip down just a little bit to make this sit flat, but you can see how this will just sit right on there. Totally simple, right? So I'm going to add a little flux and solder this thing down, and you'll see how easy of a mod grounding out your control chips can be. So there now is pretty much locked into place. Go hit all these other spots. Okay, and there's one more step. We're just going to lay a ground, an old leg here from a LED light. Alright. Not the prettiest, but that's grounded. You don't have to do both, they're the same ground. Alright, and those are the ground chips installed. So they don't have to be anything pretty, just a good solid connection. You're all set to go there. That is going to save all kinds of troubles. Okay, at this point we've got in all the RAM chips, and the 5-volt mod is done. The no delay BIOS is done. The ground chip mod is done for the controller ports. All we have left to do now is install the AV mod, and I think we can just about start putting this thing back together. And just like that, the board is sitting back in the lower case. I've already gone ahead here and installed some AV jacks. I just marked a few holes there, used a stepper bit, and drilled that out real quick, easy. Those things I just screw in from the back. There's going to be one common ground for this, so I'm basically going to solder these all together for one ground. I need to solder a few wires in here into the RF box, and I'm going to place our little chip right over here because there's good room for it there. And yeah. Alright, so this is going to be pretty easy, really. Where we need to get to, we basically need to solder our red wire all the way down the end, right here on that pin. Beautiful. Okay, so now our ground wire, black, is going to go down the other end, right here. Alright. Now, I don't have a yellow wire in this little bundle. I have green. Green is going to go right here. This third pin over from the end. Just like so. Okay, and that is pretty solid. So our sound, we're going to pick up right here on the pin, right next to the ground. Okay, and that looks good. I'd really like to snake these wires through. Give me a second, let me see if I can modify this box a little. Okay, so I made the wires too short. I had to go back in, add longer wires. Not a big deal. It's the same mod. So what we're gonna do is we put some double-sided tape right here, and that chip is now gonna live right there. That is an excellent spot.
Excellent!
What we need to do is connect a few wires to that chip. Guess I got these three kind of backwards, but whatever, we'll make it work. If I can get my hand out of the way long enough to do this for you, I'll show you. Okay, so red is going to go right there. Let's see. Okay, there is red. Now we need the ground. The ground is going right next to that one. Okay, that's ground. And the last is our video signal, which is usually yellow. But I didn't have yellow, we went green. Now what we need to do is we need to connect our grounds, and I would like to try to get a little bit of solder on the threads to try and keep these things from backing away from each other. Well, if you get it hot enough, you can get a little bit there.
Because the fireballs are everywhere.
That's not bad. Mail room in here.
What was that?
Okay, that's grounded. Now, I need another piece of wire to run as ground. And that's going to go over here on the ground side. And also run that up to where we grounded everything together. And that will tie in all of the grounds. Another thing we need is another piece of our video signal wire, which we're using green. It's going to go right next to the ground. Just like so. And that's going to go right here in the center of our yellow RCA connector for our video out. Just like that. Okay, and the last part of this mod, since the ColecoVision is a mono system, we're going to make kind of a false stereo sound by hooking up left and right to the same audio signal. So we're basically just going to jump these two with a little wire. That's fine. Now, our other blue wire here. This is a 10 microfarad, 25 volt capacitor. And what we want to do is take the positive side, run it right to our video line. So positive is a longer leg. I'm going to trim that down a little bit. Get a little piece of heat shrink on here. Make it pretty. Just like that. Close that up. And heat shrink that shut. Okay, now the other leg here, I'm going to trim it down a little bit too. It is the other signal that we need for the audio. That's the mono signal is right here, coming out of this capacitor, coming off of that line. Basically, we're just going to tie this right in on the end here. Okay, like so. We can bend that out of the way. That is the AV mod for the ColecoVision. Let's button this thing back up. Alright guys, there it is. Back in one piece, together, with all the goodies. There is a new AV mod there in the back. You saw all the others get installed. It's time to try this thing out. I'm going to show you what we got. Look at that. There is no noise, no nothing. Oh, you know what? So to work the no delay, you hit the left fire button. Nice. That looks better. Oh, look at that. That is the best looking ColecoVision I've ever seen. Awesome. Do you see that? Do you see that? Beautiful. Alright. Super cool. That is it. That is a monster. That is the ultimate ColecoVision. And you saw it get built right here on the bench. But please tell us what else you might like to see on the show. Maybe I can fix some other system. Maybe I can fix your system. But that is all for the ultimate ColecoVision build. So these systems are awesome. And this is what you can do with them if you want to go all out. Whole hog. So that is all. I want to thank everybody again for 100 subscribers. You guys rock. Thank you so much. Thanks for meeting us in the game room, and thanks for helping spread the word about the channel. We hope you enjoy what else we have to come. That's all for this episode of Meet Me in the Game Room. Game on, peeps.
It's Atari's video game Defender.
I played on ColecoVision.
Activision.
I played on ColecoVision.
Mattel's M Network and Imagine.
We played them on ColecoVision.
Introducing ColecoVision's first expansion module that lets you play all Atari 2600 compatible cartridges. And with all of ColecoVision's cartridges, that means you can play more games than any other video game system. It's simple. You can play Atari 2600 cartridges on ColecoVision, but you can't play ColecoVision on Atari.
ColecoVision, the expandable video game home computer system.
Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.